All right, story time. So, a long time ago, there was a dude I used to play a lot of fighting games with, and if I'm being honest, this dude could have like filled an entire page of scrub quotes just by himself. It was a long time ago. We were playing Alpha 3, and I was playing V Karen. Let me tell you the score first. It was 8-0 in my favor after we were done. So something was said to me by him about my Karen and more about my playstyle, I guess, that was kind of insulting to me at the time. I did a certain sequence, and if you've watched me play V Karen on this channel, you've seen me do a lot of different versions of this, right? I get a grab, her slam grab that puts him right below her and sets up really good Oki options, right? I believe the sequence was probably something like what I typically do, right? I'll do the grab, and I'll do one of a few options. I'll either neutral jump and come down on their wake up with a light kick and then walk up and grab again, empty jump sweep, or I'll back up sweep, or I'll overhead. A lot of options off of her throw as far as their wake up. You can also cross up and go into Rekka on the other side of them or some shit. There's a ton of options, right? By the end of our 8-0, we didn't even go to 10. He didn't want to. He said, God, you're so fucking random, dude. You're just random. I can't. It's such a weird play style, and it's just dumb, and you're just getting away with shit. And at the time, I took it, it offended me, right? I'm like, dude, what are you talking about? You're acting like I'm mashing or something. And I'm sitting here like, you just lost 8-0, dude. I'm that random? What I wanted to cover is that's going to happen to a lot of people. If you haven't experienced it, I'm surprised. If you choose certain options or, if you're just not even a wacky playstyle, just a particular playstyle, a lot of people will chalk up the reason that they lost to you to your randomness, or because they expect you to play a certain way. Like there's some written rule of fighting games where you have to play a certain way. You have to never go for this option because it's bad or not optimal, or because I wasn't expecting it, you shouldn't have been doing it, right? It's absurd when you put it that way, but especially like rage streamers and stuff, holy shit. When they lose, obviously they have a backlog of excuses, locked and loaded for why they lost a match against somebody they felt like they shouldn't have. But the first one that always happens that I've seen is, God, this dude's so random. And it's like, you keep falling for this shit, though. In the case of my Karen, though, the reason that it was offensive is because every single option I chose, I was thinking about why I was doing it. The last time that I got Oki on him, I did overhead, right? So he's probably thinking overhead the next time. He's going to stand block probably to avoid the overhead, so I back up and I sweep. And then I get another Oki situation where this time he might be expecting sweep, so he might crouch block, and I'll go for cross up. That's how Oki kind of works, right? Imagine looking at like Lord Knight's Amelia, any Guilty Gear he's ever played, and when he gets disc set up on you, he either goes for, crossover, land, crossover, falling H into some shit, or make it look like a crossover, land in front, and do like close slash and shit. Imagine after Lord Knight wrecks you like 10 times in a row doing that shit, that you looked at him and said, you're so random. Do you think he'd take that as an insult? Absolutely not. He straight up conditioned you to block certain ways, to expect certain things, that when he changes it up, you're not expecting it. It's not random, it's just rotation of options. Like, you can never say that to Lord Knight. No one would dream of it. But if you're playing against some dude online and you lose to the same kind of setups and same situations, you might feel better about saying, oh, you're just so random. It happened to me in Strive too, with Kai. You guys have seen my Kai. I do most of the time pretty safe stuff. If I don't do safe stuff, it's a fucking mistake. Or I'm trolling or something, like doing a bunch of freaking vapor thrusts in a row because it was funny. I think I played against a Potemkin on floor 10. We played for a while, and I think the final score was like 12-6 or something. That was a message I got after that play session was, you're so random, WTF. Of course, you're spelled you are, but regardless, you will get messages like that. You will get salty people. It's funny because I don't think I've ever heard the excuse of a player being random unless the person saying it lost to them. They don't call out a random playstyle if they beat them, but as soon as they lose, they're like, oh well, I got to go to my comfort zone. I got to use this word that I know upsets people when they hear it or they're offended by it. So I'm just going to say, "Oh, you're just random." Regardless of the fact that it's working, they're going to go to that word. It's almost as if a lot of the people who use that as an excuse have very fragile egos. So anything that they can do to delegitimize your win is fair game. Now, I want to be careful because I'm not going to judge everyone who's ever said that someone is random by saying that they have fragile egos. That being said, I've done it before. I've said somebody's like, "Oh God, this guy's so random, dude. I can't, blah, 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 blah." After I say that, I'm like, I'm losing to it. I mean, it's working. So the problem isn't this person's playstyle, it's my ability to adapt to it. Random is like a fighting game slur. What they mean is unpredictable, and that's a good trait to have as a fighting game player. Don't take it hard at all, especially you new players out there, for God's sake. Especially because you might have sort of a random playstyle starting out because you don't know everything about your character or everything about the game. So you might be testing stuff, and that can come off as random. Like, that's how you learn the fighting game anyway. You go into a match and you just try stuff, and eventually that playstyle gets more and more solid over time, and you eliminate those things that you tried that didn't work. Don't ever sweat it, guys. Don't sweat being called random. It is not an insult. It is a compliment. So, thanks for listening. I'll talk to you guys next time. Peace.